In the Hearts and Minds, Book 0, The Birth of a Hero. Story 23, Break, Continued. Grain thought he should feel something for destroying his family's legacy. Destroying the sacrifices his mother, his aunts, his father, his uncles had all made to reach this point. He had held on, even once his father grew sick and couldn't become the president as planned. He had held on through decades of war, decades of political squabbles. But he didn't. He didn't feel anything. Rather, he was mostly concerned his reporter would be disappointed in him. He was terrified of letting Lim down. The director of Foreign Affairs walked into the Ovaltine office. "Leave," Pandagroni said to no one in particular, eyes cast randomly on nothing and everything all at once. Immediately, each director jumped to their feet, bowing in quick succession before departing. Even Vice President Wan, who would soon become the next president, bowed. Grain did not bow. He didn't even rise from his seat. "For old time's sake," Pan announced, slinging a spinning chair out of his way before doing the same to the next, picking, perusing, which one was right for him. "Let me tell you how you failed." The words were immediate, ingrained in him, despite how much he had grown. "Yes, sir." Eventually, the man with the bowler hat still sitting atop his head had decided none of these chairs suited him. He'd created a maze, and now he stood in the middle of it, staring down at the dreary city. The clouds were eternal in the capital. "You excelled at all subjects in school," he narrated, a tap beginning with his right pointer finger, hands locked in a knot behind his back. "Truly, there was no better candidate than you. You had your youth, your brain, your studying, your ancestry. Everything was in your favor, even your flaws. They were manageable, nothing so noteworthy and irreparable that it would cause major problems." Grain waited, feeling like a child again. Would he ever stop feeling so immature, or had his choices in life taken this from him too? It was rather difficult not to feel sorry for himself, even though he had no right. It's not like anyone could understand the demons that make a man. He swallowed, attempting to shut down that line of thought by reminding himself that there was one person who had not given up on him, even when he was scum. There was one. "The problem with you, kid," Pan said, transporting them 30 years into the past with that one insulting word, "is that you don't know how to follow through." He turned at last to gaze upon his pupil. Grain tried everything not to flinch. This gaze was always so raw, stripped bare of all things that made a person approachable. "If you can't finish what you started, then you shouldn't have begun it at all. Your little rebellion, what were you aiming to accomplish?" Grain's mouth opened. The words were there. He could feel them. He could really feel them. He never got the chance. "Little did you know, you had already lost. Even before you started growing blatantly foolish," the man with the bowler hat said, and the words that had been ready faltered. Grain tipped his chin down as if bracing for a blow. "A couple of years ago, I sent a particular frosted into rotten territory," he continued conversationally. "As I had hoped, the king took my advice and began experimenting on her, trying to dissect what it was that had made her awaken into a monster. Grain's breath stilled in his chest. But this monster was a double-edged sword, a virus unlike anything the rotten Fromagians could ever anticipate. Worse than any Brucellosis strain, worse than a civil war. See, this monster did the unthinkable, the unmanageable. She found the solution that no one had ever tried. She took the king's head. Grain launched to his feet. What? So why has the war not changed? Pan remained unruffled. Why has word not spread of this, and the Fromagian soldiers rallied to avenge their fallen leader? Care to guess? At Grain's silence, his teacher gave a little tisk in disappointment, turning back to the window. Your mind can't comprehend why, because you were born without fangs. Very well, then. I'll tell you simply. I'm the king now. Grain had never been mistreated by this teacher of his, who had been with his family since they still lived in the Republic of Stufant. He'd never particularly liked the man, and the way he shamed Grain with every tone of voice he had, but never had he been frightened of him. His heart gave a shock, and now he wondered why the board of directors had so easily bowed their heads to him, jumping to fulfill his abrupt command. He wondered if they were standing outside in the hallway, or if the two of them were truly alone. Why would you tell me that? Grain's voice scathed from his throat like sandpaper. What does it matter now? Tell Juan, if he doesn't already know. Did you know a country is only as strong as its enemies? Pan changed the subject. Sometimes a little weaker, sometimes a little stronger. Did you know all it takes to create a country are lies and a ruse? Grain had lost any understanding he might have had in this conversation. It sounded like another theology debate, but one with only the realest of consequences. Why are you telling me this? He asked again. Pandagroni, the spider of spiders, paused as he looked at his former pupil. And then he smiled, and the lines fanning out from his eyes and creasing his face into a plenitude of folds was the most terrifying thing Grain had ever seen. Dear gods, he hoped his wrinkles didn't look like that when he smiled. Because it's more fun for me, the man with the bowler hat said. I am the only person in the whole entire world who can do whatever I want. He chuckled as he said this, but it only served to set Grain's skin on fire. And what is it that you want? Dread pooled in his chest, clogging his airways. He felt lightheaded. He felt like he was drowning. He was pulling in air, but there wasn't any left for him. He didn't deserve it. Not anymore. I want to see you run, Pan said with a click of his heels and a tap against his wristwatch. I've lowered my head for your family too many times to just walk away. I couldn't possibly let you join your father in the afterlife without giving you a solid punishment for how utterly, disgustingly disappointing you turned out to be. Grain blinked, but it wasn't over. Pan made a little shooing motion. Go on, then. Get running. Hopefully, that reporter of yours is still alive. Grain shot out of the chair. As he vaulted out of the room, his teacher's voice followed him like a cloud of wasps. If he is, tell him I said check and mate.